now with the second 2D figure after rectangle and square. That will be triangle. Okay, so let's start by understanding what is a triangle. It will be having three sides. So let me just draw any random triangle. Okay, there's a random triangle which has three sides. So that's what I'll draw it here. So this is what completes my triangle. Now first thing that I'll ask you is, first any 2D figure, what do you find it out? Perimeter, and second is the area. That are the only two things that we are looking into. So if I say the length of this side is A, the length of this side is B, and the length of this side is C. Okay, what will be perimeter? That is the boundary. That will be equal to A plus B plus C. Very simple. That will be the perimeter. Now if I just want to paint this thing completely, okay, I want to paint this triangle completely with this red part, and I am asking you, what is the area of this red part? What is the area of this region that I had painted in red? Okay, how much of paint will be put into this much of area? So what will be the area of this? So what will you say now? Area of a triangle, you know one formula, first very famous formula of maths, half into base into height. Okay, and what is always the height in geometry? Perpendicular. Anytime they ask you what is the height, always the perpendicular. This is what we have studied in geometry. The height is always perpendicular. So if I say the height is equals to h, you will say area is equals to half into c, that is the base, into the height, that is equal to h. So half into base into height. That is one formula that you need to know about area of a triangle. Okay, that is the first thing here. Second that I am asking you, okay, I don't know the height. Okay, the height is something that is not given to me in the problem. So I don't know what is this perpendicular distance. Okay, I don't know this. Still, can you find out the area of this triangle? Yes, okay, by Heron's formula. What is that? Area of a triangle is equals to square root of what? S into S minus A into S minus B into S minus C. Correct? This is what we know. By Heron's formula, the area of a triangle is square root of S into S minus A, S minus B and S minus C, where S is nothing but semi-perimeter. Okay, what is semi-perimeter? Perimeter is this. Semi means half, which means half of the perimeter. That will be equal to your S. So S will be equal to A plus B plus C divided by 2. That is how you will find it out the S. You will substitute the S here. Then you will take S minus A. Of course, you know what is A. So S minus A. S minus B, you know what is B. So this will come S minus C, you know what is C. So you will get eventually what is the area of this triangle, and that's how simple it will be. So first thing, what are you supposed to know here? If you don't know the height, you go for Heron's formula. If you know the three sides, find out the area of a triangle. And if you know the height, then it is very simple. Half into base into height. That will be the area of a triangle. Okay. I hope this clears your simple concept with respect to triangle and its area. Okay. Now let's move on to the next type of triangle. So now we saw one triangle which we called it to be a scale-in triangle. Why? Because there are any dimensions that are being given to here. Okay, these are any dimensions A, B and C. Now let's just play with this. Now I am telling you that it's a right angle triangle. Okay, what is a right angle triangle? One angle will be equal to 90 degrees. So let me just draw it here. This will be my right angle triangle. Okay, this will be my right angle triangle. So what is the area of this now? Imagine, just compare it with the previous problem. So if I say this is A, this is B, and this will be the hypotenuse C, and this angle will be equal to what? 90 degree, and this is a side opposite to 90 degree. That's why it will be called as an hypotenuse side. Okay, in this case you will always know the height. Why? Because there is always a perpendicular here. There is always a perpendicular, you always know the height. So why to go for Heron's formula? You will say plane half into base, which is B into A, solved. Okay, so area of a right angle triangle is half into base into height, which is quite simple. If you know, we had studied this in geometry. There are 5 formulas for area of triangle. Okay, I had just told you 2 here. Then the other formula is half into product of the two sides into the sine of angle between the two sides. Okay, then one with the circumradius and one with an end radius. Okay, if you are wondering what am I saying, please go to the geometry classes and see the area section. That is where we had covered all this formula with respect to the area of a triangle. So there are actually 5 formula. I'm just telling you 2 right here now because that is what is required in this chapter of mensuration. Geometry you require all the 5. That's why we had covered all the 5 in the geometry class of area section. Okay, so this is also done. This is a right angle triangle. Now let me just put a variation to this. Okay, this is a right angle triangle, correct, but this is an isosceles right angle triangle. Okay, now what is that now? What is an isosceles right angle triangle? So let us just make it like this, and this will also be equal to 90, but it's isosceles. Isosceles means what? 2 sides are equal, which means this angle is equal to this angle. So this side, if this is A, this is also equal to A only, because it's isosceles, and this is your hypotenuse, and let this side be equal to what? Be equal to B. So you will say again the area of the triangle is half into base into height, so half into A, because this is also A, this is also A. It's in right angle triangle, but it's isosceles. So this becomes what? A square upon 2. A square upon 2 becomes the area of this isosceles right angle triangle. Okay, after that let us just see what is an isosceles triangle. So even before I move on to isosceles, let us just visualize this triangle. So we'll come here and we'll try and visualize all this triangle. Okay, now this is just for your visualization. This is a scale-in triangle, which means any dimension. So let me just draw this triangle now, any dimension, and let us find out its angle. So what are the angle? Any dimension. 56.3 is the one angle, 73.5 is one angle, and 50 is one angle. Sum of the measures of a triangle is 180. We had studied this in geometry. Okay, now this is how it will be. This is how it will be your scale-in triangle. Okay, now if I were to make this angle to be equal to what? See, this angle I am changing it, and eventually I am reaching a 90 here. Let me reach a 90. Yes, got it. Now this angle becomes a right angle triangle, because one of the angle is 90 and the other 2 are different angles. That's why it's an isosceles right angle triangle. And if you can check the length of this will be equal to 7.7, this is 12.3, this is 9.6. Now if I make both of this equal, if I try and make both of this equal, so let me just put one more triangle. I hope you got the answer to this as to what is a scale-in triangle and what is a right angle triangle. Now if I have to draw an isosceles triangle, isosceles right angle triangle, how will it look like? So let's move on to that now. This is here. Now let's start moving all this are moving. Yes, all this are moving. Okay, so let's make one of the angle to be as 90. Which angle will I make to be as 90? This angle. I'll try and make this angle as 90. Okay, this is going out to be 90. Yes, now it is 90. Okay, yeah, now it is 90. Let's just make it clear. This is 88, 89, 90. Okay, this is now a right angle triangle. But what is an isosceles right angle triangle? Which means you will have to make the other 2 sides as equal. Okay, so let us check the length of this now. 6.7 and 9.3, so they are not equal. We'll have to make them equal. Okay, we'll have to make them equal. So now try and make them equal such that this 2 angle will be what then? 45, 45. Okay, so try making this to be 6.7, 6.6, 6.7, correct. Okay, now this 6.7, this 6.7, but again this angle has to be 90. This angle has to be 90, and both of them has to be equal. See, so if I change one, the other is changing. But once it will happen that both of them will be of same length, such that this becomes 7.2, this becomes 7.2, and the angle between them is 90. Okay, and the angle between them will be 90. I hope you are able to get the visualization of this, that how will this thing happen here. Okay, this angle will become 90, and okay, and you will be having one side which becomes equal to the other side, so both of them say become 5.8, and the angle remains to be as 90, and that's where you will get an isosceles right angle triangle. Okay, that's what is being shown in this part. That's what is being shown in this part. Now what next? After this you will be having a triangle which is called as a pure isosceles triangle. Now what is a pure isosceles triangle? Which means two angles are equal. The third angle could be anything, not necessarily it is 90. Okay, such that the two angles are equal here. So let me just draw this. Yes, now this is not necessarily with this could go in any which ways. This could go in any which ways. Similarly, this could go in any which ways. But what do I know? I know that two angles are equal. This angle is equal to this angle. Okay, now this angle is not necessarily 90. If this is 90, this becomes same. This is this then. This is this then. Because if this is 90, this becomes 45. This becomes 45. Okay, if you have studied, we have studied this in geometry, 45, 45, 90. But say if this is say 50. So what is left is then 130. 130 is divided into two parts, 65 and then 65 degree. Okay, this is called as an isosceles triangle in which the two angles are equal, and that's why the two sides also become equal. This is what we have studied in triangle. Side opposite to this triangle and this side opposite to this angle and side opposite to this angle will be same because these two angles are same. So this becomes equal to this, and that's an isosceles triangle. Now what is the area of an isosceles triangle? So if I say this side, the non-equal side is B and the equal side is A, then the area of the isosceles triangle is equals to B by 4 into square root of 4B square minus A square. Okay, make sure you remember this. B by 4, where B is the non-equal side, okay, into square root of 4B square, where B is again the non-equal side, minus the equal side, A square. That will be the area of an isosceles triangle. Okay, and if you have to just come here and visualize how will the isosceles triangle look like, just make this two angles to be equal. So if this is equal to this, if this two angle becomes equal, then it will be an isosceles triangle. Okay, let me just try and make this. So this is 42, and if we make this to be as also 40, see this is 40. If this also becomes equal to 40, then see 40 both are becoming equal. If both this angle become equal, okay, 41, this is now 40.5 and 40.5. okay, then this side will be equal. See, this is 8.5 and 8.4. But if you make both of them to be 8.4, then the angles are equal. So two sides are equal and their angle are 40.7 and 40.7. Okay, and the rest of the angle obviously will be the two angles sum, 180 minus that will be the third angle that will be there. Okay, so that is your isosceles triangle in which two angles and two sides are equal, and the area is equal to B by 4 into square root of B square minus 4B square minus A square. And in the end, we'll see the last and one of the most important triangle, which is an equilateral triangle. Okay, it has many properties. Okay, so let's see this in the next part. Let's see last of the triangle here, which is an equilateral triangle. Okay, so after isosceles comes equilateral. What is an equilateral triangle? All three sides will be equal. Okay, and if all three sides become equal, all three angles will also become equal, and that will be equal to 60, 60 and 60. Okay, so that is what will form your equilateral triangle. So this is an equilateral triangle, say ABC, such that each of the side is say anything, A could be 10, 10, 10, 6, 6, 6, anything, and three angles will also be equal, such that 60 degree and then 60 degree. That will be your basic equilateral triangle. Now first question that I'll ask you here is, what is the area of this equilateral triangle? So you will say, I'll draw perpendicular from here. Perpendicular is always the height, and the area will be equal to half into base, which is equal to A, into height, which is equal to H. So half into base into height will be the area of this equilateral triangle. Okay, and if I have to put it just in terms of some color, say white is the color that I gave it to this, or say yellow is the color that I gave it to this. So this yellow area is something that I want to know. Okay, that will be the area of this equilateral triangle. The first question is done. Perimeter will be A plus A plus A, that is nothing but 3A. That will be the simple perimeter of this. Okay, now there are two more things that you need to know apart from this, from area as well as the perimeter, that is a circumcircle and an incircle. So if you can recall, and if you don't know what am I talking about, please go to the geometry lecture and see equilateral triangle part only. So you will understand what did we study in this. So I'll draw a circle here, and the circle is outside this. Okay, imagine it is touching the three vertices and it is outside this. So this is how I draw a circle. This circle, as we have studied, will be called as what? This will be called as a circumcircle, because it is outside this triangle, so it will be called as what? A circumcircle. Okay, now how is a circumcircle be formed? Do you know what forms a circumcircle? Perpendicular bisector. So I draw a perpendicular bisector, which means a perpendicular which bisects this side, a perpendicular which bisects this side, and a perpendicular which bisects this side, and with this as a center I draw a circle. That will be my circumcircle. Okay, so perpendicular bisector is what gives you a circumcircle. Okay, this is what you know about it. Then you have something called as an incircle, right? And how do you get an incircle? If you are not able to recall all this, again a reminder, please go to the geometry class and you will find out the revision of all this. Still I'm trying to give you all the concepts. What is an incircle here? A circle which is drawn inside this triangle, something like this, touching all the three vertices of this triangle. So this will be my incircle. Okay, that's how it fits here. How is an incircle formed? What makes an incircle? Angle bisector. Okay, so what is an angle bisector? See, this is an angle 60, split it up into two angles, which is 30 and then 30. Again, this is angle 60, so split it up into two equal angles, 30 and then 30. Again, this is an angle 60, so split up into two equal angles, 30 and then 30. And this center which will be here will be called as a incircle's center. It's called as an incenter. Okay, so we have a circumcenter here, which was yellow earlier, and circumcenter, which was the center for circumcircle, and this is an incenter, which is a center for incircle. Angle bisector, what gives me this? Angle bisector. So angle bisector gives me what? Incircle. So I know what is circumcircle, I know what is incircle, I know what gives me circumcircle, I know what gives me incircle as well. Now last that we'll also see here is a centroid. Okay, but how is a centroid formed? By median. Okay, and what is a median? Median is something that bisects the opposite side. So just make sure you draw a blue like this, which is bisecting the opposite side, and I draw one more blue line like this, which is bisecting this opposite side, which means it is dividing it into two equal halves, and I draw one more blue like this, which is bisecting this opposite side. Okay, so the center which will be here is called as a centroid, and centroid is a property that what? It always divides the median in the ratio of 2:1. Just a recall of everything we have studied in geometry. And 2 is always from the vertex and 1 is from the side, right? 2:1, and this is, say, white is my centroid here. But so let's write it here first before we move on to analyzing them. So what this is median which just bisects the opposite sides gives me centroid. And there is also an orthocenter here, which is the intersection point of perpendiculars. Not required here. Let's keep it to this 3. Let's keep it simple. Now all the centers are different in different triangles. So scalene triangle, all the centers will be different. But in an equilateral triangle, what happens? All the center become equal. So your circumcenter is equals to incenter is equals to centroid. All of them are at one and the same point, and that's why I made them overlapping. The yellow is over red and the red is over white, which means all the centers are same in an equilateral triangle. Okay, if you're not able to visualize this, let's come here, see. This is first I had made an equilateral triangle. If you can see, all the three sides are 8, 8, 8 and angles are 60, 60 and 60, right? This is your plain equilateral triangle that is being drawn here. Now if I just try and change the dimensions of this, okay, let's just cut this and redraw a triangle. So let us just draw any scalene triangle now. This is any triangle that I am drawing it here. let's put an angle 40, 84.2, and this is scale and triangle, mean any triangle that I had drawn it here. Now what am I telling? I'll first draw a perpendicular bisector which will give me what? See, this is a perpendicular bisector and I draw it here. Perpendicular bisector for this, perpendicular bisector for this, and perpendicular bisector for this. Okay, and the intersection point of all of them, I'll take that now, the intersection point of all of them. So let us make a point that is intersecting all the three, and we'll put it here as an intersect. So let's take a point, intersection point of all. Let's give it, so that's an intersection point, and I'm calling it to be, say, I'm calling it to be as, let's make it this, and let's give it a color as well. So let's give it a red color. Okay, this is my intersection point of perpendicular bisector, which is a circumcenter. Okay, and from this I'll draw a circumcircle. So this is a center. See, exactly, I got a circumcircle. From the perpendicular bisector I got an exact circumcircle here. Okay, and let's just put a color to this as well, so that we are able to recognize what are our perpendicular bisector, because now we'll be drawing many others as well. So let's just put a color to this. Okay, let's just why is it not happening? Okay, yeah, it's here. Put a red here, and here again let us put a red to this. So let us put a red to this as well. Okay, all these are my perpendicular bisector. Now let's draw an angle bisector. Okay, let's see, this is an angle bisector. So let's draw an angle bisector of this. This will give me what? In center. Okay, so this is one which is drawn. Let's color it here only. We'll put it as, say, blue. So let's put this as blue, which is here. Okay, let's draw an angle bisector which is here again. This, and then this, and let's put this as blue again. So let's put this as blue again. Yes, and let's draw the third angle bisector. So let's go to here. This is how it will look like, third angle bisector. Okay, and let's make this blue as well. So this will be again blue, and they are intersecting at a point. If you can see it here, they are intersecting at a point, and this will be my intersection point. So let's make an intersection point which is this. Again, and if I were to just again put a blue color to this, let's make it this point, and let's keep it this only and make it bigger, and put a blue color to this. So we put a blue color to this. Okay, so this is your what? That is your now in center. So this is an in center, that should give me an in circle, right? So this will give you an in circle. This is a circle, and this is how you draw it, a circle. Okay, it is not looking like an in circle, but it will eventually be. If you just play with this, it will be an in circle that will come inside this. Okay, something like this. If you can see, both the points are now different because it's not an equilateral triangle. But as soon as I make it an equilateral triangle, what will happen? This two points will coincide. Okay, which will be like, one point will be over the other, something like this. So in center becomes equal to circumcenter, right? If this now see the angles, all of them are approximately 60. So if you make all the angles as 60, circumcenter becomes equal to in center, and that's why both the center are same in an equilateral triangle. But if it is not equilateral, then the centers will go anywhere and they could be placed anywhere. Correct? This is not an equilateral, so both of them are different. Now let's see the last part, which is a median. So I'll get a midpoint of this. So this is one, I got a midpoint of this, and to the midpoint I'll make a line here. So this is from here to here, I draw a line, and let's just color this line so that we know that it's a median, and let's put it as a brown color. So this is what I'll put it here. This is let's put it some other color because it is getting mixed with this. Yellow would be good. Okay, this is a median. Okay, now let's take the midpoint of this as well. I am taking the midpoint of this comes out to be L. Now draw a line from this, from here to L, and let's again make this as a yellow line. Okay, that is the second part. And let's just take the third one, which will be this, and then this. Midpoint of this is what I have it here. Okay, now I just have to connect this to this. So let's take this segment, this here, and then this. And if I color this, this is how it will look like. Not this, yeah. Let's put this here, yes. And this is what it will be, yellow again. The intersection of this 3 median, let's get that now. The intersection of the 3 median point, which will be equal to this. If you can see it here, let's just draw it here. That will be my intersecting point. I'll just put a point onto this, yes, not this. Okay, let me just make this come quite clear. Yeah, this is how now it looks clear. Now let's put an intersection point to this. Correct, now it is quite clear. Okay, now let's make this point darker so that we understand it better. This will be the point, and let's give it a color, say yellow. So my yellow point is a centroid. Okay, is a centroid because it's an intersection of median. But if it's an equilateral, all the 3 should be same, right? All the 3 should be same. See, if I make the angle to be 60, median intersection point, that is a centroid, becomes equal to circumcenter, that becomes equal to incenter if it's an equilateral. See, all the angles are 60 now, approximately 60, so they are becoming equal. Circumcenter is equals to incenter is equals to centroid. So the intersection of perpendicular bisector, angle bisector, and the median becomes equal if it's an equilateral triangle. Okay, this is one of the most important property that you should know. If I make it any other triangle, they will all 3 be different points. But if I make it an equilateral triangle, all 3 will be one and the same. All 3 will be one and the same. Okay, that's how it will go. All 3 will be one and the same. 60, 60, 60, all 3 are same. Okay, so that is what you have to understand about the equilateral triangle. That centroid is equals to incenter is equals to circumcenter. Now from this, why did we study all this? Because we want to come here. Okay, now from this, what do you know? You know what is area of an equilateral triangle? That is equal to half into base into height, right? We know that, half into base into height. Now base is A. Now what is an height of an equilateral triangle? We have studied this in geometry. That is always equal to square root of 3 by 2 into A. Okay, and how is this happening here? Because we know that it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the height is something that is opposite to this. In case you want to visualize this, just visualize this. If I draw it in this way, this will be 60, this will be 90, and this remains to be 30. So this forms a 30, 60, 90, and from this I get an height which is square root of 3 by 2 into A. So if you say this is height, so half into base will be what? A, into height will be what? Square root of 3 by 2 into A. Okay, so this becomes what? Square root of 3 by 4 into A square. That is the area of an equilateral triangle. So just memorize this, square root of 3 by 4 into A square. And you need to know what is an height as well. Okay, square root of 3 by 2 into A. So you know what is an height? Yes. You know what is the area? Yes. Now I am asking you, what is a circumradius? Which means what? You draw this circumcircle, right? And this is where your center is. So what is this radius? What is this radius is my question to you. Okay, so you will say, okay, you are asking me this radius, correct? This radius, or you are asking me this radius, right? This is what I am asking you. But if this is an equilateral triangle, this is what then? This is could be a median, yes. This could be an angle bisector, yes. This could be a perpendicular bisector, yes. This yellow is everything, because in an equilateral triangle, all the centers are one and the same. So I can call this yellow line to be a perpendicular bisector. I can call it to be a angle bisector. I can call it to be a median. I can call it to be a what else is left now? There is again a perpendicular, which is not required, right? So if it's a median, it will divide it in the ratio of what? 2:1. So height is divided in the ratio of 2:1, which means what? Height is square root of 3/2 into a. Divide this into 3 parts, take 2 part of it, which means 2/3 of the height will be this. 2/3 of the height will be this, and that comes out to be what? 2 gets cancelled. A upon what? A upon root 3, and that is the circumradius. A upon root 3. That is the circumradius of a circumcircle. If this is a circumcircle, this will be the circumradius. Now if I tell you what is the end radius, this red, the end radius, you will say this much part, right? This much part. And this is everything now. This is a perpendicular bisector, angle bisector, as well as a median. If it is a median, it is divided in the ratio of 1:3, which means I will take 1/3 of the height. Right? Because the height is a perpendicular. Okay, and the perpendicular is equal to the median, so you can write it here as well. This is a perpendicular which will form an orthocenter, which we didn't see it here, but it's okay. But that will also be equal to the median, that will be equal to angle bisector, that will be equal to perpendicular bisector. So if it's a perpendicular, it's in height. It's a median, it is divided in the ratio of 2:1. So what is the height? Square root of 3/2 into a. Okay, I require 1/3 of that. That will be equal to my end radius, because if it's an in circle, that will be formed by angle bisector, but angle bisector is equals to median is equal to perpendicular, so all of them are same, right? So I'll write this as a upon what? A upon 2 root 3, and that is my end radius. Okay, that is how simple you get to this. So remember this 2 formula. All that you need to remember is what is the height, second what is the area, then third what is the circumradius, and what is an end radius. This was a concept of geometry which I had explained it here comprehensively as to why does all the centers become equal, and how can you derive the formula for circumradius and end radius. Okay, because that is the height and that is also the median. Median divides in the ratio of 2:1, which means height is divided in the ratio of 2:1. Take 2/3 of that height, that will be circumradius. Take 1/3 of the height, that will be equal to the end radius. Okay, because you will say how 2/3 of that, because it's also if it is this, it's also a median, right? It's a perpendicular, understood, but the perpendicular is a median, that is also understood, but it is also a perpendicular bisector. So from that you can find out the circumradius. Second part, you will say it's a perpendicular, right, because it's an height. It's a median as well, correct, so it is divided in the ratio of 1:3, but it's an angle bisector as well. So from that you can find out your end radius. Okay, and that's how simple it is to reach the solution in this case. So remember all this formula for equilateral triangle. Then now we go ahead to solve the problems. So after understanding the concept related to triangles and knowing what are the various types of triangle, how do you find the area of a triangle, of an isosceles or an equilateral, and how do you find out the perimeter. Okay, after knowing everything, let us start with few problems on triangles and see as to various scenarios in which we can apply the concept that we have learned. Okay, so what is given here? The area of the triangle is 24 centimeter square. The length of the hypotenuse is 10. Find the length of the shorter leg. Okay, so we know that it's a right angle triangle. So this is how it will look like. Right angle triangle, angle 90 at this. So this would be my hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is given to me as 10 centimeter. So say this is B and this is A. The length of the two legs. One is B and one is A. That is what I take it here. Area of a right angle triangle, which means if I have to just paint this right angle triangle completely, so what will be the area of this? That area is given to me as 24 centimeter square. So this is 24. Okay, find the length of the shorter leg. So any one of them which is shorter, say A is shorter. So tell me what is the length of A. Okay, so let's start with it. So what is the formula for area of a triangle, of a right angle triangle? That is half into base into height, half into A into B, because it will always have an height, right? It's a perpendicular, so it will always have an height. But this is equals to what? 24. So what do you get? A into B is equals to what? 24 into 2, which is nothing but 48. So I get the product of A into B is 48. Now there is a problem here. I don't know, this could be 1 into 48 or what, 2 into 24, okay, or you can say 3 into 16, okay, or you can say 4 into what, 12, okay, not by 5, 6 into 8, or what, will it go by 7? No. Will it go by 8? 8 into 6 is nothing but 6 into 8, okay, 9, 10, then 11, 12, it'll all be same then. 12 into 4 is same as 4 into 12, okay, so it doesn't matter here. So that's what it is. I am still confused what will be my A and what will be my B. So that's what I get it here, okay. Make sure that 12 into 4 into 12 is same as 12 into 4. So I'm not thinking in that direction, because I just want to know which is a shorter. I want to know the length of the shorter, okay. So what is A, what is B doesn't matter, but I want to know the length of the shorter. So I'll know, of course, if this is the case, then 4 is shorter and 12 is larger. If this is the case, then 6 is shorter and 8 is the larger, okay. That's what I'll know it here. So the reverse of it is the same as this. What else do I have? The length of the hypotenuse is 10, okay, which means what? Now I'll apply the Pythagoras theorem, which means A square plus B square is equals to 10 square. Side square is equals to this. So A square plus B square is equals to what? 100. Okay, now square of two numbers is equals to 100. So if I take a 4 and a 12, say start from here. 1 and then 48, 1 square plus 48 square. Obviously I'm not getting this. 100, okay, so gone. 2 square plus 24 square, do that. No, you will not reach to the answer. It will be lot more than 100. Similarly, this will not give you the answer. 3 square plus 16 square is obviously not, because 16 square is 256. So this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. Similarly, 12 square is 144, gone. The only combination is this 6 square and 8 square. 6 square is 36, 8 square is 64. This plus this is nothing but 100. So I know this is the only combination that turns out to be true, where the product of two numbers is 48 and square of the individual, sum of the square of the individual is 100. So what is the length of the short leg? That will be equal to 6 and the other one will be equal to 8. Okay, so that's what is being asked. Short leg is nothing but 6 centimeter. Why centimeter? Because everything is in centimeter, area as well as the hypotenuse. Okay, that's how, just an easy approach to go ahead and solve this problem. Let's take one more problem on triangle and see what will be our approach to this. So what is given here now? The base of the triangular field is 3 times its height. Okay, so if I draw a triangle and if I say this is the base and I draw height here as well, the base of the triangular field is 3 times its height. So if the height is h, the base will be what then? The base will be 3h. Okay, the base is 3 times its height. That's what I get it from here. So what will be the area? Now it will be easier. Even before I go ahead and solve this question, I'll just know what is the area here. It will be very simple to find out the area. The area, which means if I color this red region, what will be the area? Half into base into height. Base is this 3h and height is this h. So half into base into height, this is nothing but 3h square divided by 2. That will be the area of this triangle. Okay, now let's see what else is given. The cost of cultivating the field is 36.72 per hectare. Okay, is rupees 495.72. So what is it saying? This is, say, this red part which is being colored is a field. Okay, and the cost of cultivating this field per meter square, which means, say, whatever, this is a triangular field which is in meter square or centimeter square, whatever it is, but the cost of cultivating it per meter square or centimeter square of that field is 36.72. So I'll say this is the area of the field. The area of the field into the cost that is being required to cultivate per meter square of the field is this, and the total cost for this is nothing but 495.72. Okay, if you're not getting this, see, if the area is 10 and the cost of cultivating each meter square of area is 2, so the total cost will be 20, right? right? That's what I'm using it here. This is the total area, cost of cultivating per meter square or centimeter square of the area, and then the total cost that will be required. Okay, so this is what I get it here. Now what? Now I just have to solve this. So let's take this 495 point. So do this 495.72, and that is divided by 36.72. So 36.72. That comes out to be 13.5. Okay, so this is 3h square is equals to 13.5 into 2, because that this 2 will come here now. This 2 will come here. So this is 3h square is equals to what? 27. Okay, so h square is equals to what? 9. H square is equals to 9. H comes out to be what? Equal to 3, and that is your answer. Height is equals to 3. So find the height and the base of the rectangular field. The height will be equal to what? 3, and the base is 3 times that of the height. So 3 into 3, that will be equal to 9. Okay, so I know the answer for both. The base is 9 and the height is 3. Okay, so that's how again simple it is. Just know the basics, and solving the problem should be a lot easier after that. Okay, let's solve now a problem again on triangle. So this problem says that a ladder is resting with one end in contact with the top of the wall of height 40 meter. The other end of the ladder is on the ground at a distance of 30 meter from the wall. So let's draw a wall first. There's a wall here, and this is a ladder that is resting on the ground such that one end of the ladder is on the wall, something like this. Okay, and this distance is 40, which is at one end contact with the top of the wall at an height of 40. So this is 40. Okay, with the top of the wall at a height of 40 meter. Then what? This is the top of the wall. Okay, so wall is not anything beyond this. So this is still where the wall is, and it is at the top of the wall, which is at a distance of 40. The other end is on the ground at a distance of 30 meter from the wall. So this is the other end at a distance of 30 meter from the wall. This is where the other end is, and this is where the top of the wall is. The length of the ladder is very simple. This is 30, this is 40. Apply the Pythagoras theorem. So this will be what? 50. Okay, this is 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5 is the Pythagoras theorem, right? Okay, so multiply this by 10, 30, 40, 50. If you are wondering what did I do it here, why am I not using 4 square 16 plus 3 square 9 25, because there is a shortcut here, the shortcut that we have studied in Pythagoras triplets. Not only this, we know the shortcut for other Pythagoras triplet as well, which we have seen it in the geometry class. Okay, that is what I had applied it here. If you are wondering what is the shortcut, just go and refer the triplets chapter of geometry, and you will know the shortcut for this. Okay, so let's move on to the next now. The sides of the triangle are given to me. Find the perpendicular distance from the vertex to the opposite side, vertex opposite to the side 56 meter. Okay, vertex opposite to the side 56 meter. So what is given to me now? See, let's understand what is the problem saying now. So this is the triangle here. The three sides of the triangle are say 56, the biggest side. Then there is a 25 here, and then there is a 39 here. These are the three sides of the triangle. Find the perpendicular distance from the vertex to the opposite side, from the vertex opposite to the side of 56 meters. So this is what is being asked to me. Okay, find this perpendicular distance. So let this be equal to the height. Okay, this is what I am supposed to find out. Opposite to the side of 56 meter, right? So this is what I am supposed to find out. So how will I start with this? See, the area of this triangle, if I say, I can apply the formula of area of the triangle here. So I need to find out this red area. So you can say this is equals to half into base, which is 56 into height, right? Half into base into height. I can write it as area of this triangle. But the area of this triangle, I need to find out h here, right? So I need to know what is the area of the triangle. Till the time I know what is the area of the triangle, I will not be able to find out what is h. So there is one more formula for area of a triangle. We had learned that is Heron's formula. Okay, what is that? The area of the triangle is given as square root of s into s minus a into s minus b into s minus c. Correct? We know this as well. And s is nothing but semi-perimeter. So s here is perimeter, which is 3 sides a plus b plus c divided by 2. Okay, so that is your semi-perimeter. So let's add this 25 plus 39 plus 56 divided by 2. So let's find this now. What is s now? Add the 3. 25 plus 39 plus 56 comes out to be 120 divided by 2 is nothing but 60. So semi-perimeter comes out to be 60. Now I need to substitute it here. Square root of 60 into what? 60 minus 25. Okay, what is that equal to? 60 minus 25. That comes out to be 35, which I'll write it here. S minus b, which is 60 minus 39. So 60 minus 39 comes out to be 21. Let's write it here. Okay, and then 60 minus 56, which is nothing but equal to 4. Okay, so s minus a, s minus b and s minus c. I subtracted 60 from first this side, then this side, then this side, and I wrote it here. Now I need to get the answer of this. Okay, let's try and split this up to get to the answer. So 60 could be written as 15 into 4. I'm trying to get the square out of it. This could be written as 5 into 7, 35. 21 could be written as 7 into 3. And this 4, let us just keep it like that. Okay, what do I get from this? This 4 and then 4. 2 4. So I can get 1 4 out. Okay, because square root, this will be 4 square. 4 square, square root will be 4. 2 7. 2 7, 7 square. What will come out is 7. What else can I get it here? Yes, now this 15 could be written as what? 5 into 3. 5 into 3. So because of this, what will happen? This 2 5. Okay, and what will come out is 1 5, because that will be 5 square. And then 2 3s. So 3 square. What will come out is 3. That's it. Okay, you have taken out the square root right now, and this is your final answer. So the answer is what now? Just multiply this. 7 into 4 is 28. Into what? 5 into 3 is what? 15. So 28 into 15 should be your final answer to this. So let's just multiply 28 into 15. What is this? 420. So 420 is your answer. But is this my final answer? Okay, this is my final answer. No, this is area of a triangle. Substitute it here. So area of the triangle 420 is equals to half into base into height. Okay, so what do I get from this now? What will be h is something that I want to know. So 420 into 2. Let's do this. 420 into 2 will be equal to 840. This is 840. Okay, now this is divided by 56, and that is equals to my h. That's something that I'm supposed to find out. So 840 is 840, right? Yeah, 846 not. It's 840. Yeah, 420 into 2. Now divide this 840 by 56. What is the answer that you get? It's 15. Okay, 15. This is 1, this is 15. Okay, so h height comes out to be what? 15, and that is my final answer. The height of this equilateral triangle is nothing but 15 what? Meter, because everything here is in meter. So that's how again simple it is to reach to the answer of this question. All that you have to do is apply whatever you know here. I knew the formula for area of the triangle, which there are 2 formulas here, and I applied both the formulas and I reached to my final answer. That's how simple it is to solve such problem. Okay, let's take the next problem. If the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is and a square is same. Okay, what is the perimeter of an equilateral triangle? If I say this is an equilateral triangle, which means all the 3 sides will be equal, so the perimeter will be equal to 3a. And if I draw a square and I say that the side is b, So the perimeter will be equal to 4b. So 3a is equals to 4b. When will this happen? If 3a is equals to 4b, I can say a is equals to 4 and b is equals to 3. 3 4s are 12, 4 3s are 12. That is when they will be equal. So I get a as 4 side of an equilateral, and I get b as 3, which is side of a square. Correct. Now he is asking me what the area of the equilateral triangle is p and the area of the square is q. Then what will happen? What can you say about p and q? So what is area of an equilateral triangle? We know that square root of 3 by 4 into side square. Again, what is the side here? 4 into 4 side square. So what will happen here is 4 and 4 gets cancelled, and you get the answer as what? 4 root 3. That will be the area of this equilateral triangle. And if I ask you now what is the area of the square, you will say the side of the square is 3. So the area will be side square, that is nothing but 9. Okay, now what is the value of root 3? That is nothing but 1.73. So if you multiply 4 even by 2, it will be 8. It will always be 8. So it will always be lesser than this, right? So if I say this is p, if I say this is q, q will always be greater than, and p will always be what? Less than. Right? Because that is what is being given. So we will say that p is less than q. We are sure about this thing. Okay, because this will be p and this will always be lesser than q. That's the condition. So just know the basics. From that you will get some value, apply the formulas that we know, and eventually you will reach to the final answer for the problem.